Game being played at the Red Bull Arena. It means that Germany win Group A in style. We're welcoming Mario Melchiot in to talk more about what we've seen today. I will be starting with you, though, Ali. That's a lot more convincing from Germany tonight.
Well, I think it's fair to say that that's the one game in this whole World Cup qualifying cycle in which Germany have looked convincing, have looked like Germany. It was a dominant performance, and to Kasey's point, they needed the early goal to settle whatever discomfort or whatever nerves may have been coming into this match. And what we saw is a team in full flow. We saw players getting themselves in good positions, good players finding spaces, combination, give and goes, one-touch passing, quality of passing in the final third, quality of movement. Florian Wirtz, yes, Florian Wirtz, let me tell you. He can be a difference maker, Florian Wirtz, and he was today. And you see him play today and you go, where has that been? And it hasn't been with Liverpool, but it certainly was today with Germany. And then you have to mention Big Nick Voltemade, who continues to score goals, continues to find himself in really good positions. The hold-up play was also very good. The link-up play through Voltemade was really good. Leroy Sané scoring goals. Serge Gnabry scoring goals. They're keeping a shutout. Germany, here we go. If you didn't think this team was a favorite going into the World Cup, here we go, Germany. Maybe not.
Nick Voltemade, he didn't want to talk about Isak the other day, but this is a Newcastle striker.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Big Nick, I mean, he certainly has been, dare I say, the standout player for Germany, albeit today's game apart and underwhelming Germany at that. But Voltemade playing as that out-and-out number 9, that big target man, somehow everybody seems to lose track of. That's beyond me. But in and around the box, give him time, give him space, he finds the back of the net. And that first goal was desperately needed for Germany. And while, yes, you look back on the result and 6-0 and it's easy, and in fact it was, keep in mind how poor Germany had been coming into this. Keep in mind that the fans have not really taken it to this side. Their performances, you're at home, all to play for on the back of a very disappointing result of a few days ago. That early goal just settles things down and allows Germany to take this game by the scruff of the neck. But Voltemade, I think, rightly lauded for his performances, for the way he leads the line, his tracking back and defending. He certainly has been that all-encompassing target man that Germany has needed for quite some time.
Yeah, you mentioned it, Kasey, because obviously they were up against the Slovakia side who beat them at the beginning of qualifying, who would have qualified themselves today if they'd have won this game. And you talked about that Voltemade goal settling those early nerves.
Yeah, I mean, they started the match really well. I mean, they were in command, but they were just missing that goal. And once the goal came, yeah, there was one really nice save for Germany where Slovakia had an opportunity to equalize. But after that, Germany just took over. And I think the nerves settled. They were still playing really well. I mean, where was this Germany throughout all of qualifying, which I'm sure everybody wants to know. But when there is the pressure on, Germany rose to the occasion and made it comfortable to make sure it wasn't a catastrophe in having to go into the playoff.
Where has this been from Germany? We don't even have to talk about where has this been in the previous games ahead of the matches that they just played. Where was this against Luxembourg?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
right.
And you don't have to go all that far to find a disappointing performance from Germany. And everywhere you look, it's kind of performances that you go, bro, this team is no good. When we talk about the high standards that you expect from Germany, you see them today and you go, wait a minute, because there's a potential that Jamal Musiala will come back. And there is a potential that this team will actually be stronger and will be better. And then you kind of think, maybe they're not as far off as we thought, though I still think that there's a lot of work to do if this team is going to be considered to be among the favorites going into the World Cup.
Were you impressed by them today, Mario?
Yeah, I think one of the key things what Nagelsmann said, he was a little bit, he felt the nerve in the group because they had to think about the qualification. And Germany normally, I hear the guys talk, of course, but on this side of the world, we always see them as one of those countries that always does well to get themselves through, over the line kind of. And it looks very comfortable the way they do it. So the way they did it like today, it looked, to me it looked very impressive. And the guys that you mentioned, Voltemade, especially when the cross came in. That must be a hard man to stop when the ball gets crossed to him. And then, like the young boys come up, but Leipzig, oh my God, they got too many stars in that team. Too many young stars coming through there. I don't know how they're doing it, but I saw some players coming through. But one impressed me was Sané. The last 20 minutes before the end, I saw him taking a sprint back for like maybe 20 to 30 yards. And I was like, is this a Sané that maybe someone told him, like, hey, you gotta work hard?
You know it has to be painful when you go to the Dutch guy and he has to talk about how well Germany played.
No, and also the benchmark to Sané is
Mario was like, really? I got to talk about this? I was having so much fun when they were struggling, and now I got to come in here and talk about how great they played.
But to your point,
Well done,
Kay,
Mario.
to your point, Kay, yes.
I know.
That Mario is saying the benchmark for a successful performance by Leroy Sané is he worked hard.
He ran back 20 yards.
He ran back 20 yards. But actually, it's a point well taken because Leroy Sané doesn't always run those 20 yards. And so, if we're going to judge Leroy Sané on today's performance and today's performance alone, then man, what a player he is for Germany. The issue is as we know, his history is well known by everybody. This version of Leroy Sané doesn't always show up.
Florian Wirtz, I thought, was outstanding. And the player, remember Leverkusen, and the player Liverpool have been yearning for him to be, comes into this game and just dictates so much about Germany's creative play, those passes from midfield, they run from the left-hand side. I thought this is Florian Wirtz at his comfortable best. And we've spoken about this. A lot of times when you're away, when you're with your club and you're struggling, international duty is such a welcome departure that you can go and be among players that you know and you feel a whole lot more relaxed. But now, as I mentioned, as far as this game goes, I'm not sure exactly how relaxed everybody could be. But once they get the opening goal and everybody just seems to settle down, I thought Florian Wirtz was at times unplayable, certainly unreadable in terms of his passing from whether it's deep or getting on the ball. That's the Florian Wirtz that everybody has been yearning for.
Yeah, so what can you take from that, given what we're seeing with Liverpool and how it's been tougher for him, and that this is what we're seeing with Germany?
Well, first of all, just look at what position he was playing today. That's not where he's been playing for Liverpool. They're having in this sort of hybrid position in which he's actually supposed to help the midfield, but he's really joining in the attack as well, and he's neither here nor there. Where he was playing today is on the left-hand side. On the left-hand side, coming from the left, and then allowing him to go find the game. If he wants to come off the line, so be it. If he wants to stay in the line, so be it. Freedom to then make decisions and feel the game and allow the game to come to him. That ball that he plays to Leroy Sané, if he's playing for Liverpool, I don't know whether he plays that ball or not.
I don't know if he's not in the position to play that.
Well, that's
so
fair enough.
Yeah.
But even if he's in the position, there's so much thinking going on right now for Florian Wirtz with Liverpool that maybe he just settles with the sideways pass, the 10-yard pass that it was right here, instead of the 35-yard pass that breaks everything open. You see Florian Wirtz today, and he's just skipping around the field, and it's just like he's playing a game at a completely different level than everybody else, but he is enjoying himself as if he were in the backyard. That's not the feeling that we get from him when he's playing with Liverpool. A whole lot more tension built up in his performances with Liverpool than what we saw today with Germany in a game that they needed to win in order to go to the World Cup. It would seem like those pressures would be the same, but obviously the lack of productivity or the lack of performance with Liverpool is weighing heavy on him, and it affects, as pressure does, everybody. Nobody is in any way can just do away with pressure magically. You do it through performances. He did it today with Germany. Then the question becomes, if you're a Liverpool fan, Florian, can you please carry that momentum onto the weekend with us?
Now, a number of those German internationals will be back in action once domestic football returns in the Bundesliga. You can catch all of these games, as you can every single week throughout the season, on ESPN+.
Yeah.
Just in case you didn't know.
They will be over this side of the world in 2026 playing in the World Cup. But Mario, what are the nation's realistic expectations for their side next year?
I mean, look, we always want to. One of the key things, and also our the things that go against us, is that we want to play beautiful football. And sometimes I say, guys, come on, We are qualifying. We are a small nation because sometimes we forget that. You know, when nations are small, they always speak up and make them feel bigger. So we got 17 million going to 18. But the thing with us is sometimes we are very talented because for a small country, I think we still manage to get great talents through it. But yeah, we got qualified for it. It's happy the way they did it, and it looked really good. But we just have to make sure that we get the job done and making sure that if you say, yeah, I would go like, get us out of the group. And then after that, we can try to do something special.
When you do
But
look
don't
at the
start
odds,
straight away
Mario,
going like, oh, we're going to win this.
it's interesting when you do look at the odds, they're kind of level with Germany, and if you to like break down the odds, they'd have them at the quarter-final stage. Does that sound achievable to you?
The quarterfinal?
Yeah.
Now, I think Germany normally does much better than us, you understand, if you look at over the journey what Germany achieves. But I still think like we have the talent. If we can do it as a team, we can do a lot of good things because all of our players, or most of the players, are playing abroad in big competitions. So if you put them together and they're performing really well abroad, so we can definitely, you know, try to create a big upset.
Let me give you one more stat that I saw today, Mario. You say that they're playing abroad, the players. Only Depay and Frankie de Jong from the Dutch starting 11 did not play for a club in the Premier League today. The rest of the team all playing their football in the Premier League.
Yeah, so that's why. But you can see the difference. You know, we talked about like, you guys just talked about Wirtz. We had the same with Xavi. You know, if you look, it's a totally different Xavi than when he plays at Spurs. Why? Because sometimes they come home, the confidence is there, we play a different system, it's not as quick. You know, it's more a tactical game, it's more an understanding game. It's the same like European football, so that's the same with your national team. You don't go as fast as the English want to go during their league time. So I think that's why he felt comfortable. And you could see it also the way he played. And even Malen, because sometimes he doesn't always play for Villa, but his goal, the way he took it really well. The way he took that sprint, they hit him on the break together with Simons, and the way he took that defender out was really smart. And I said like, yeah, you know, as a team, we definitely have players that can compete on the highest level, but now we have to do it all together.
Netherlands or Germany?
Good question, but I just can't get over Mario. Every Dutch player I've ever played with or played against, they're winning the World Cup. Of course they're winning the World Cup. I mean, how could they not win the World Cup? We got players in the Premier League. We're the best. We're the best team ever. Look, I like the idea of Holland coming into a tournament with Mario's attitude, with kind of thinking, well, maybe, because look, there's no question they have the squad that could go deep and could cause a lot of problems. I think really what it's going to come down to for both Germany and the Netherlands is who clicks at the right time, who gets some guys overperforming, like we talked about Xavi Simons. Is it a guy that shows up for his nation that isn't necessarily showing up week in and week out? Is it same with Germany? Is a Florian Wirtz going to be the player that Liverpool thought they were getting, or the player that we saw today who then just runs the show for Germany? So I think both of them have the potential, if things go the right way, to cause a lot of problems.